What up? It's Earnest here, and the first lesson I learned this week is that not releasing your negative emotions continues the harm for both of you. So procrastinating, dealing with your negative emotions continues the harm for both of you. So quick story for my experience with this past week. My roommate has a dog, was featured in one of the Today I Learned videos, so if you're an OG then you got to see a little bit of Fox. And for a little bit there, my roommate was working extra hours, and we were having, two roommates, me and the other roommate were having certain issues with taking care of the dog more than was, really felt fair, a certain amount of obligation given toward us. We were having drama about the dog and how it was being taken care of. So what was going on? And I knew it was an issue, and I knew it was starting to affect me, and it was starting to really get me caught up in a lot of negative emotions and really, judgy and like all this kind of stuff. But I really don't like conflict, and so I was putting off dealing with it, putting off dealing with it. But that made it so then every time any little thing happened, I would just rage up inside, and then I'd have all this fight with myself and trying not to be angry, and it's just like I'm getting upset, I'm lashing out at her, she's getting upset, we don't have communication going, we're just getting more upset at each other, issues are persisting, things are not going well. And then finally one night we just sit down and we have a talk about it, and since then she's been working on it and been considerate of our feelings, as we've discussed about. Things have been getting better, and I've been feeling better, and I'm less angry whenever things happen because I see the progress being made and there's communication. So me procrastinating, dealing with the negative emotion, it made it so that we both were having more negative emotions in the process of waiting as this conflict was sort of brewing. You can't avoid the conflict whenever certain things come up like that, and they continue to build on themselves, and they will leak out at each other, so there isn't an easy escaping it. But taking the same principles and applying it over to the video, shooting with the camera, which we're on the new camera, I hope you're seeing it on there, and I look fucking sexy, oh yeah baby. But it was giving me a lot of anxiety to shoot on there because I've never used this kind of equipment before, and then I started having all these audio troubles, which we'll get to in a second. Holy shit. Anyway, so I was putting off trying to shoot with the camera because I was afraid that there would be certain conflicts in what it technically required and what I was able to do, and that those conflicts, as I failed them, would make me feel like I was a failure and I wouldn't be able to help you all. So we are here now, so obviously I worked it out to some extent, but my fear of doing that, as I procrastinated away days and days and days of potential shooting, it wasn't like I really got to escape the anxiety, and if anything, the fear and anxiety continued to build and grow deeper and deeper as I gave more power to the idea that this was going to be something really scary and really hard, and I needed to put it off, dude. I needed to put it off. I wasn't ready yet, and the more I wasn't ready yet, the worse I felt about myself. You don't get to skip, putting it off doesn't actually let you skip with dealing with it, and it only makes you continue to have to as it runs through the undercurrent of your days. So thank you all. Now I'm going to tell a little bit of story about the audio equipment difficulties I've had this week and the ghost music that haunted me. I hope you enjoy. This is what happens whenever you don't test your audio equipment. Okay, and this is all the way up, seeing if that does anything. Blah, blah, blah. And this is what happens whenever you think that you fixed it. So this is what happens whenever you don't test out your audio and video equipment, even though you know you should, until the day you need them. Okay, and this is all the way up, seeing if that does anything. That music was not playing whenever I was recording. That music was coming from AM radio waves that were coming into the wire because the wire wasn't grounded. So then I had to buy another mic because that mic was shot, and I'm having to return that. And that took another couple days, which then ate into the time I had editing for these videos. And so I lost all of that time that I could have been editing these and making them better quality for you all because I just didn't bother to check the sound equipment. And I am sorry. I feel like a big dummy dum-dum, and whenever I was trying to record it and that music was coming in on the playback but I couldn't hear it, I thought I went crazy. I had no idea where this ghost music was coming from, and I about lost it. Don't put off testing your equipment because you're scared that you're too dumb to use it, because being scared to use it is the only way to be too dumb to use it. Test your equipment. What up? The second lesson I learned this week. Ooh, hold on. Alright. What up? The second lesson I learned this week is not to confuse what you see in the mirror for what will always be. So I learned that this week in dealing with the camera, dealing with the editing. I was looking at editing the first week's video as well as shooting the second week's video, and both using the camera and working the editing software were things that I didn't have a lot of confidence in my ability to do. I didn't know if I'd be able to do get it to the level of production that I wanted it to be at. I didn't know if it would look cheap or cheesy or dumb, or if people would just be like ugly, you know, people would think that I wasn't handsome. Not that one. But that mirror is fine. But in these other mirrors, these sort of metaphorical mirrors, whenever I'm looking at what is my editing knowledge, what is my camera knowledge, and what I want to do, and seeing that I don't know how to do it right now. And so then whenever I'm wanting to try to start and to give it a chance, whoa. Pet intrusion. Inconsiderate roommates. But so whenever I'm wanting to give it a try, whenever I'm wanting to try to edit it or to do it, it's eliciting a lot of anxiety, because when I'm looking at the mirror and I'm seeing that I don't know how to do it, it's like, am I gonna fail? Like, am I gonna even be able to pull it off? Am I just gonna feel worse about myself after I do it? And so I procrastinated working with it. I procrastinated testing it, as you just saw. I procrastinated doing the editing until the last second, and just cramming it in one day. It made me have to cancel plans with someone I was excited to see just so I could like fit it all in. But, you know, and the thing I want you to understand is, in the same way with your body, whenever you start working out, if you're convinced that the way you look is the only way you'll ever look, then you won't be able to dedicate yourself to do the steps it takes in order to change. By being able to understand that you could look differently than how you look, by being able to understand that your skills could grow and you could develop, and even though you don't know how to do it now, you could learn how to do it if you took the time and put in the effort and you weren't afraid of the fact that you don't know how to do it now. And so I learned this week in dealing with several new areas that you can't confuse what you're seeing in the mirror now for what your abilities are now for what will always be. You have to take those steps forward even when you don't know how to do it, and trust that you'll figure it out in the process. So thank you. Up next, I'm going to reveal my ultimate secret for a happy life. Enjoy. What up? Are you all ready for my ultimate secret to happiness? Are you all ready to know the one thing that's been preventing you from being happy all of these years? The one thing that comes biting up, eating up the essence of any meaning that you develop in your life as it comes crashing down like the sandcastle tumbling before the tide. The one thing that prevents and causes all despair and agony, human ruthlessness to one another, misery, suffering, the thing that makes it so that you can't get a date on Saturday nights whenever oh, hold on one second, I gotta... The thing that makes it so that you can't... Oh, hold on. So, Saturdays, you have some free time, you want to get a date, you can't get a date because... Hold on one second. Okay, so anyway, on Saturday nights, you're trying to get a date, trying to have some people. You finally have some free time. You want to be able, you want to have that kiss. You've never kissed. You've never touched any lips before. You've never had the experience of connecting with another person. Hold on. Okay, I'll tell you just one more hit. Okay, I'll tell you just one more drink. Okay, I'll tell you, I just need like 5 more gummy worms. What up? The third lesson I learned this week is that you have to convince yourself first. So I learned that in the context of... So I learned that in struggling with all of the procrastination, struggling with the anxiety on, was I good enough? Could I do it? Would it ever mean anything to anyone else? Would I be able to get something done that would really, really bring about the changes that I wanted to bring about? Was I barking up the wrong alley? Should I be going in a different direction? Should I be doing something different than this? Is this a waste of my time and efforts? Just all these different, questions. And all the anxieties about like, could I love it enough and everything. I realized that in order to bring about the changes that I was hoping for you, and the change that I want is for you to find a love in your own process, for you to find meaning in your process, to not be so focused on the goals and what you get from it, and to find that love in the process. And I realized that my anxiety and all of my focus on being able to reach a certain number of people, on being able to affect people in really profound ways, was all driven by my desire for success. And that if I wanted to bring about the change that I desire for you, the change that I think could change your life, that I had to be willing to change my life first, and I had to find the love in the process for me, and I had to be able to share it with you all. And so I hope you feel all of this inside me right now, all of this love brewing for you, and I hope it comes across to you, and I hope that in feeling that you understand why it's important for that love, to focus on that love for the process, how that's the thing that propels everything else forward. That's the thing that allows you to dive deeper, that allows you to do more in a way that is offering to other people as well as sustainable for yourself. And it's just fucking cool. It forces you to be able to accept yourself. It forces you to dig deep. It forces you to face a lot of those dark elements. So don't confuse it. It's not just about just being happy-go-lucky. This is a method of presentation, and one that I do because I want to give you all that enthusiasm and that joy for the process and get you in touch with that. And so today, the biggest lesson I learned this week was that if I want to help you all, then I have to convince myself first. If I want to believe that, if I want to push through and find a way to do it, I have to convince myself that I can do it first. So, and sometimes that maybe it's just doing it in the action, but it is what it is. I hope you feel this love. I hope you see that I am convinced. I do know, and I do love, and I do love you, and I am trying to give you something, the most valuable thing that I can think to give you. So, thank you. We're gonna have a quick little word here, and then we're gonna head out. What up? Thank you for being here through the whole journey this week. Thank you for putting up with me being a bit of a baby throughout the week. If you follow me on stuff, I was struggling and I was frustrated and I was letting it get the best of me. But here we are. We've made it through. I've learned something and I hope you have too. But I wanted to take a quick note and to talk about if procrastination is really actually bad. You know, sometimes there's a real value in taking that time off to let your mind just think and work through something while it's kind of on the back burner. Sometimes when you're really focused on a problem, by focusing on it so much, you keep yourself locked into the patterns of thinking that are making the problem persist. And by going and doing another activity, you free yourself of those patterns that are locking that in place, and you allow new patterns to organically emerge to deal with that. And so sometimes, like taking that walk, going to go see people, taking time away, playing that game, whatever it is for you, sometimes that procrastination is actually good. Not to mention, some of us just work better under pressure, or really that pressure forces innovation on us. I was able to get fairly emotional in this, and I hope that it gets across to you. I don't know if it's as good as the first weeks. I'm not really trying to compare them, but I know that there's at least some nuggets of something really real in here for you all, and you know, maybe I wouldn't have been able to find these in the way that I did if I wouldn't have procrastinated. I know that multiple of the sections changed. I had an outline plan for a kind of loose structure, and I changed like half of it over the course of the week while I was procrastinating. I was figuring out different ways, different kind of fun things to do. You know, the intro bit, the story of the audio struggling, and then even some of the way I was talking about some of the things all changed through the course of the week. And so there's a question of, was the procrastination actually bad? Was I if everything goes as it's meant to go, was I supposed to? Was I just needlessly having anxiety for nothing? Would I have always done it in the same way? I can't answer these questions. I don't have any clear-cut answers on this, but I think it comes down to a sort of feeling in your gut, and the sort of way where you know that sometimes also putting it off to the last second and working under the pressure like that is also a way to have a crutch, so you have an excuse for why it's not as good as it could be. And sometimes I think we procrastinate because we're scared of, what if I try my very best and I put 100% into this and I work as hard as possible throughout the week, and then it's still not that good? So maybe I was protecting myself from that. Maybe I was meant to procrastinate. Either way, we've made what we've made. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you subscribe. I hope you like. I hope you comment. I hope you share. I hope you retweet. I hope you follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I hope that you continue to go on this journey with me, and I hope it offers you some value and you learn something from it. I hope you're learning in your life every day, and I hope you learn to love yourself a little bit more every day, even on the hard days, even on the dark days, even on the times you're frustrated and think that you can't make it through. I know it's hard. I've been there too. I hope you feel this gift from me to you. I love you. Thank you.